The Farmhouse, and a Secret Affair. On the outskirts of Willow Creek, a vast farmhouse stood proudly, its large white walls visible from miles away. The estate belonged to Richard Caldwell, a man in the twilight of his life. He was stern, commanding respect and a hint of fear from the local community. His land stretched across several square miles, and every corner bore the mark of his ownership. Richard's wife, Natalie, was considerably younger. They had been married only a few years, and the desolate farmhouse life had left her feeling empty and trapped. She often found herself talking to herself in the silence, bitter about her fate. Her youth and beauty were stifled by the oppressive quiet of the farmhouse, and each day passed with a growing sense of melancholy. Richard's son, Adam Caldwell, was from his first marriage. His mother had passed away years ago. Adam was a young, educated man who ran a modest but stable transport business in the nearby city. He spent most of his time in town and rarely visited the farmhouse. Natalie, therefore, was his stepmother in name only, yet the emotional and psychological distance between them was deeper than mere family formality. Most of the time, the farmhouse was just Richard and Natalie. Their age gap and clashing personalities created constant tension. Richard's sternness collided with Natalie's sensitivity, and daily conflicts intensified. Natalie's resentment grew each day, and she longed for freedom from her life with him. Everything changed when she met Cameron Hayes. Cameron was a young man from a nearby city whose charm, soft-spoken manner, and gentle attentiveness filled the emptiness in Natalie's heart. Their meetings quickly escalated from casual conversation to a secret affair and eventually to a dark plan. After each meeting, Natalie pondered her decision in the silent farmhouse. At first, Cameron merely comforted her. He listened to her complaints, empathized with her emotions, and occasionally made her smile. But Natalie's words grew more intense. She had made it clear that she could no longer tolerate her life and wanted freedom at any cost. One day, after Richard reprimanded her harshly over a trivial matter, Natalie's humiliation and anger ignited a fierce resolve within her. That night she called Cameron and instructed him to come immediately. When Cameron arrived, Natalie explained in detail how she intended to rid herself of her husband. She went over every part of the house, room by room, mapping out their plan. They agreed to meet in a secluded section of the farmhouse at night to avoid detection. Natalie assured Cameron that she had everything under control and that the area had seen robberies before, which could be used as a cover for the crime. Initially hesitant, Cameron finally agreed after seeing Natalie's determination and intensity. They waited for the perfect night. A few days later, that night arrived. A deep silence had fallen over Willow Creek. In the distance, dogs barked faintly. Natalie had already scattered items around the house to simulate a robbery, and even tore her own clothes to appear as a distressed victim. Cameron entered the farmhouse quietly and met Natalie. They exchanged a final look, as if acknowledging that there was no turning back. Richard was asleep in his room. Cameron, gun in hand, crept toward the bedroom, his heart racing. For a moment his hand trembled, but then he pulled the trigger. The shot shattered the silence, and Richard Caldwell was gone forever. Natalie screamed loudly, staging the scene to appear convincing. They quickly gathered some valuables, and Cameron slipped away. Natalie immediately called the police. Within minutes, officers arrived, cordoning off the area and beginning the investigation. At first glance, the case appeared to be a robbery gone wrong, but certain details troubled the investigators. There were no signs of forced entry, and Natalie's statements contained inconsistencies. The police collected her DNA and retrieved phone records. In the call records, one number appeared repeatedly, calls made before the murder. Tracking it led to a nearby city and eventually to Cameron. Through covert surveillance, the authorities finally had the evidence needed to link him to the crime. Investigation, arrest, and hidden secrets. Within hours of Richard Caldwell's murder, the police had secured the entire Willow Creek area. Chief Investigator Samuel Irwin, known for his meticulous approach and years of experience, personally oversaw the operation. Every room, corridor, and outdoor area of the farmhouse was carefully examined. Initial observations confirmed that no doors or windows had been forcibly opened. The lack of entry points suggested this was not a typical burglary. Samuel Irwin immediately focused on Natalie, beginning a thorough interrogation. Through tearful testimony, Natalie claimed she had been asleep when she heard a commotion. Upon investigating, she found her husband on the floor, the room in disarray. She insisted that intruders had broken in to steal valuables. The police documented everything meticulously, photographing each corner and noting every detail. However, certain elements didn't align with the robbery narrative. There were no forced entry marks, and unusual shoe prints and stains suggested someone familiar with the house had been involved. Samuel Irwin began to suspect an inside plot. Phone records revealed multiple calls to Cameron Hayes from Natalie before the murder. Surveillance confirmed Cameron's movements, showing him active in minor city errands by day, but involved in suspicious activity at night. Phone and CCTV evidence proved a secret connection between Natalie and Cameron. One night, police conducted a covert raid on Cameron's apartment. Initially resistant, he eventually surrendered. Taken into custody, his DNA samples and phone records were compared with the evidence. The match was undeniable. Cameron and Natalie had coordinated the crime. Under interrogation, Cameron confessed. He revealed that Natalie had planned the murder, staged the robbery, and manipulated him into carrying out the act. Natalie was promptly arrested. Meanwhile, Adam Caldwell returned from the city. Seeing police at the farmhouse, he was escorted inside. His alibi was verified. He had been away on business, leaving him uninvolved. With conclusive evidence and witness statements, the police were prepared to present the case in court. The once vibrant farmhouse was now a silent monument to betrayal and crime. Part 3. Court, Sentence, and the Silent Farmhouse. The murder trial for Richard Caldwell began in the district courthouse. Natalie and Cameron were present, along with Chief Investigator Samuel Irwin and his team. The case had drawn the attention of the entire county. The judge oversaw the proceedings as police presented the evidence. CCTV footage, phone call logs, DNA reports, and inconsistencies in Natalie's account. Every detail confirmed that this was a premeditated murder, not a random burglary. Samuel Irwin detailed in court how Natalie had staged the house to mimic a robbery, torn her clothes to appear as a victim, and coordinated with Cameron. Cameron admitted in court that Natalie had orchestrated the crime, and he had simply executed her plan under emotional pressure. Initially denying involvement, Natalie fell silent as the overwhelming evidence was presented. The judge stated clearly that the murder was deliberate and cold-blooded, with no excuse acceptable. Both Natalie and Cameron were sentenced to life imprisonment. The news reverberated through the county, shocking the community. Adam Caldwell mourned his father but found some solace in the judicial outcome. He vowed to preserve his father's land and use it for the greater good. Portions of the estate were converted into a small hospital and school, providing essential services to the local community. The farmhouse's walls remained quiet. Windows were shut, the courtyard empty, yet the silent fields whispered the memory of that tragic night. Adam often stood by the window at sunset, gazing across the fields once walked by his father, reflecting on the cost of ambition, desire, and human frailty. At night, the wind rustled the curtains, distant dogs barked, and Adam remembered the day his father's life ended in an instant. The farmhouse's silence now served as a lesson. Unchecked passion and anger can drive people to unspeakable acts, but courage and purpose can rebuild hope and create a legacy of good. Natalie and Cameron served their sentences, paying the price for their crime. Their story echoed through the walls and fields, a cautionary tale of desire, manipulation, and consequence. Yet Adam's efforts transformed the place from a symbol of fear into one of community, education, and hope, a testament to the power of resilience and righteousness.